Loktargar friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another Orc Mode workout, and today was max effort squat and deadlift day. And for those who don't really understand what this whole conjugate thing is with the max effort lifts, on my max effort days I rotate through at least a half dozen different variations of the squat and the bench press. And then I still practice a little bit of singles with those exercises with at least 90%, right? 90% intensity or higher. And what we do with these, you ramp up and every time you do one of these variations, you track them and you try to PR every time you do it. So some of these, this is the first time you guys are seeing me do them. It's the first time I've done some of these in many, many years. And I used to do this system of training before. And then what we do, we track them over time. And for now, since I'm only doing these again for the first time, these are my baseline maxes. Now these are pretty much close to maxes. These are close to true 1 rep maxes. And I'm ramping up until it feels like what I know a max is supposed to feel like. Right? I'm not failing any. Now I could try to push them further and take them there. But what I'm doing is establishing a baseline. And I'm tracking all of this stuff on a spreadsheet. In addition to it all being logged here. And I can show you guys eventually how to set up spreadsheets for stuff like this. It's not that hard. And so what we do, some of these, I'm not going to do these again for 7 or 8 weeks. But every time I do that lift, I will try to get stronger on it, even if it's a 5-pound PR or a 10-pound or a 20, whatever we can get. And so with this system of training, there's a psychological component to it and a physical component. Obviously, we're using different variations that will affect our strength curve in a certain way. And we're practicing pressing against maximum weight. So we are getting the practice of doing maximum exertion lifts. But there's a psychological element to this also, and this should make sense for some people at a certain point. You're setting PRs all the time because you're doing a variety of big exercises and you're rotating through them. You are setting PRs every single week, year round. And if you can't increase the PRs enough, you need to just add more exercises. So you might end up only doing that exercise every 8th week or 10th week. But every time you do it, you're supposed to PR. So you hit personal records year round on a system like this, whether you're bulking, whether you're cutting, no matter what you're doing. There's a psychological benefit to that. Because training is not just physical, right? There's a psychological component. You have to do what you enjoy. And there is something fulfilling that affects everything from your hormone levels to training response to placebo effects and everything else when you are hitting PRs every single week. It basically means you don't ever have a bad week. And what do these things let you do? They let you, since you are pushing maximum weights, but they're somewhat detrained to maximum weights because you don't always do necessarily that same exercise. They let you look for the weaknesses in your strength curve. Right? They let you look for your weak points, figure out what muscles you need to do all the extra work in. And that's one of the things you guys are going to notice more and more and more over time. Adding more exercises, adding more training volume. That is there because, again, this has to be driven home over and over and over. Size equals strength. The exception is when drug doses get really high or people are just straight up injecting their muscles with fake stuff. Right? A lot of your bodybuilders, you need to remember that you guys are seeing, even on YouTube, who aren't pro bodybuilders, 2-3 inches of that bicep might not actually be muscle. Okay? Perspective. But size equals strength. So when you're setting PRs all the time, there's a psychological component to that too, though. But we are trying to get as big as possible. You know, and that's one of the things that's come up. People have said, hey, you're staying at the same weight. Some people said, hey, you look bigger. Some people are like, are you leaner? Are you getting fatter? There's always comments, right? No, I'm staying the same weight. I have my diet pretty well dialed in. I don't deviate. And my weight doesn't fluctuate more than 1 to 2 pounds week to week. So since January up till this point, I am plus or minus 2 pounds, the exact same body weight. So there's a narrow range that I stay in. And it's approximately 218. And so that's where I'm at. And I think some people are forgetting. They're kind of like, but didn't you hit 219 in November? That's right, but I was 215 in December. What does that tell you? Anyone who's ever done a diet and ever lost weight in their life knows what just happened there. When you come off your caloric deficit, what happens? You regain some water. And that's what happened. I went back to maintenance, and I've stayed there. So the thing is, though, I will recomposition doing this because I'm continually increasing my work capacity, increasing my workloads, my training volumes, getting stronger, doing more workload while staying at maintenance on a lot of protein. There's going to be a slow recomposition happening on this. So yes, I will over time get bigger and leaner doing it. But again, with a system of training like this, because I'm an advanced lifter, things like this drive you forward. It's how you have to push new adaptation. You can't use the methods that a novice uses anymore. So I got up to, for people who were curious on that last set, it was 395 on the box squat, and I'm on a 12-inch box. So I'm an inch below parallel for me, because I've checked it from the side with the camera zoomed in. So I'm an inch below parallel. 395 plus 65 pounds of chain. Now, how much is down at the bottom is hard to tell. I don't know. It could have been like only 405 at the bottom, 410, maybe 415. But at lockout, it was 460 on the box. So we will actually test the box squat also. I mean, the box squat itself with no chains or bands will be in the max effort rotation with both a barbell and with a safety bar, right? That's part of the rotation. I decided to work with, again, 430 today on back squats. And what I'm doing on these, because of the thoracic rounding issue, I am putting all of my efforts into stopping the thoracic rounding. That is actually the only thing I'm really focusing on this entire movement, getting my knees out and trying to keep my upper back from rounding. And it's only somewhat successful because that's a weak link in my squat right now, right? It's a weak link. And I'm going to have to keep doing these exercises to strengthen that. And I'm going to have to keep working on the form with sub-maximal weight, because 430 for me is sub-maximal. It's very heavy, but it's not my max. So we come in and we work it every week, and we work on the technique, and work on focusing really hard on that weak link. But I'm also doing a lot of accessory movements and even variations on my maxes that work that thoracic region more, because I need that upper back to be stronger. And the thoracic it's not the lats, guys. It's not the traps. My lats are big. My mid traps are big. It is my T-spine, the muscles that run all along the spine. It's got to be strengthened more. Then I did sumo deadlifts, and these are still in the range of 90. Because again, I've been building my deadlift back up after that lower back pull, and I only did one really heavy pull in the last year. Heaviest you guys have seen me pull is 575, right? In the last year. So I've only done one real heavy pull. But then, so I have to rehab my lower back, and I've been building up my hook grip. And so I felt like what was 90% of what I've done on the sumo on camera was too light. It didn't feel like 90% last week, so I bumped it another 10 pounds today. And it's good because this actually wasn't difficult, and my hook grip held. So it tells me that all of that speed work on speed day with the hook grip, all those doubles, is really adding up on my grip training. Because I had no problem just doing three quick singles with this. My thumbs aren't even sore afterwards. Like, I didn't get any blistering, no soreness. So this didn't even feel like it had any issue for my thumbs at all. It was just some nice clean pulls with 485. And we'll call that 90% of what my probable max is right now. Because these were not heavy. Like, they all felt good. They were moderately heavy. But they were probably at best 90%. So we're just getting some good practice pulls in sumo, moderately heavy, and we'll slowly work this up over time, just as back off work. Because again, we're improving the deadlift with the speed work, the box squats, everything else. But I do want to keep getting stronger at wider stances in general, right? That is something I want to do. So one of my accessory movements you guys are going to see me doing up here shortly is going to be a kind of a classic powerlifter exercise that usually requires special equipment, but I've noticed that there are even top lifters who do it without having the equipment, and that's belt squats. And I've kind of devised a way to do it. I need to find a way to get a quick release, though, for a hook. Instead of the hook I have, it's a little hard to set up. You guys will see me struggling with it in a minute. Different. 5 sets of 10 on rows today, the Pendlay rows. I'm wearing a belt for it. Why? It's neuromuscular efficiency. I'm not worried about lower back and abs so much these days because I train them 7 days a week. I do ab work and hyperextensions every single day. Every day. That's not going to be a weak link for me. Those are muscles that I train 7 days a week. Like I do hyperextensions and I do glute ham raise sit-ups and all that stuff on my GHR every day. I'm not overly worried about them. I am worried about just neuromuscular efficiency. So like my rows, because I need to get stronger on these high reps are hard for me. This is a lightweight, but doing 5 sets of 10 is a little bit difficult. So I need to do everything I can to get stronger at it. Because it's part of my grip training. It's going to carry over to my other lifts. And so this will improve neuromuscular efficiency. Using a belt correctly improves neuromuscular efficiency. There's still going to be exercises I don't use a belt on. This is one of those, though, where there is like a certain breathing involved, and so I can brace against that belt, grip the bar harder, and you get better muscle fiber recruitment. That's what belts do. Just like gripping a bar extra hard does the same thing. There's a radiant effect from all of that. So I'm like, I'll go ahead and just wear the belt for it. It's fine. And so I got my 5 sets of 10 on these today, which is what I'm doing twice a week. And people need to realize with all this stuff adds up, because then you factor in the fact I do all these face pulls and other stuff too, not on camera. Again, we're going to see more and more volume. So yeah, it's 10 sets of rows every week, 5 by 10 twice a week. You can see me build up to where I'm doing 5 by 10 on my incline bench, on my speed bench day. We're going to be doing probably 10 sets of side laterals every week, 10 sets of curls every week. And I'm going to do some other stuff with the curls too, which everyone will get a laugh at. They'll be like, oh my God. So we are doing all this accessory movements. And again, all my glute ham raises and stuff, which I don't have my glute GHR in really a good spot. I don't like it where it's at for filming. So I just do that on my own separately. But yes, I do have it. I'll eventually show you guys I do have a GHR. That's come into question. People are like, oh, you're lying about it. You guys see $7,000 of gym equipment in this video, like in my photos, stuff you guys know I have. I don't need to lie about a $400 GHR. It's just like, all right, belt squats. These were a bit hard to set up and get it spaced perfectly and get that chain to where it's consistent and get my loop set. So people are going to say, why are you doing these? Oh, this is going to be a complicated one. I need to unload my spine. I need to make sure that my quads and my thigh abductors and everything, because I want to get better at wide stance squatting. See that stance I'm using? I want to get good at doing that, because that's almost my sumo stance. I want to get good at doing that with a barbell squat, because I know from a leverage and a range of motion, I'm going to get my best max with that. So my box squats are going that direction. I need to build that strength up. I'm really weak in that position due to certain muscle weaknesses. I need to thicken those areas up. This will give me extra quad work that doesn't have the same problems we have with squatting and deadlifting, right? The axial loading. I can add more training volume here with no axial loading. And it's better than any sort of machine. People would say, why? Because even a leg press puts a load on your spine. A hack squat machine puts a load on your spine, and it doesn't have the same joint angle specificities that a squat has. This actually improves your squat as far as your legs and hips and abductors and everything. This will have better carryover than those machines will. It will have better transfer. So it's superior for that purpose, and it's superior from a recovery perspective, because we are completely unloading the spine. We've completely desegmented it. So this is a zero compressive force on your spine. There's no load being placed on any of your vertebrae at all, because the hips are carrying all the weight. So we're getting, again, it's called a belt squat. There are machines made for this that cost like $1,000, but you can do it this way. And now getting it all set to where you can get just to your right depth and get set in is hard, because look how much trouble I have hooking and unhooking it. So it is a hassle to set up, but it's one of those, yes, I'm a little weak at it right now. But if I keep working the training volume on it and I build up to doing, 5 sets of 10 and stuff on it, because it's always going to be a volume exercise. This is not an exercise just because of the problems of setting and everything that you're going to want to do maxes on. But if you want training volume and you like, okay, my quads and my abductors and all of this stuff needs more volume, but I need it in a way that's going to carry over directly to my squat and to my sumo deadlift with all the perfect joint angles, well, there you have it. And it unloads the spine and the back even more than a leg press or a hack squat machine. So again, what we do when we're picking these things that we say, okay, I want to strengthen all these areas up, we need to target them with surgical precision. No bullshit, guys. We don't need random things. Oh, my legs just need more work, so I'm going to do something random. No, let's be specific. And we need to be looking at what can we do that will allow us to do the most training volumes that we can recover from and give us the carryover that we want to everything. Because size equals strength, but joint angle specificity equals strength. And we also have to deal with recoverable volume. So if I'm going to keep ramping volume and volume and volume, we've got to start being very selective in how we target these exercises. We need to pick the best exercises that I can find a way to do, right? You just don't want to pick a random exercise. Oh, just go do a bunch of arms, right? That's not what we want to do. We want to pick the versions that are going to give us the most bang for our buck and that we can do the volumes and recover from. And then obviously I finished off with my safety bar good mornings, which are still a weak link for me. My neck is still a limiting factor, and yes, I'll say this, I'm doing some neck work only for that direction. I'm not doing all these 3 or 4 different directions other guys are doing, because I do think neck training taken too far is dangerous. It has health risks. I am starting to do a little bit of neck work just for the position that will help me improve at these, because I feel like it is possibly limiting me, and I need to get stronger at this exercise to get stronger at my squat. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.